And now in the first third or so of my career, if you had told me that I would one day be introduced to anyone by Stuart Eizenstat, I would not have believed you. So it is an incredibly special privilege to have had that happen, and I know everything. So I did know that you sent us checks, and we appreciate it very much, and appreciate your both public commitment to service and your private service as well. And I really am thrilled to be able to be with all of you to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Commission for the Preservation of America's Heritage Abroad. Thank you, Ezra. Where are you? Ezra, the omnipresent Ezra Friedlander, who really is inevitably responsible for filling rooms like this one. Everything that Ezra touches turns to gold. And it is no surprise that he's been able to make sure that this occasion was marked with a significant turnout and that many people are aware of its impact. I was unable to be with some of you at the annual Capitol Hill celebration organized by Ezra in honor of Jewish American Heritage Month. But I did beg everyone's forgiveness because instead of that, I was at my synagogue watching my youngest daughter get installed as the vice president of the Kadima chapter. So I thought I got a pass that day, at least on that one thing. I want to acknowledge and congratulate Lesley Weiss, the current chair of the Commission, for her tireless dedication to supporting the historical memory of our community throughout Europe and here at home. And I'm going to have the privilege in a moment of presenting at least one of the other awards. Many of you know that I am an ardent supporter of Jewish contributions to American heritage, and this organization is really a significant linchpin in making sure that we can sustain that preservation all across the world. Of course, Jews have made contributions all over our world, and our communities were vibrant and integral to so many countries in Eastern and Central Europe for most of their modern histories. You were established in 1985 by Congress, and the Commission's purpose is to preserve the lasting legacies of Americans with Central and Eastern European roots. As we in this room all know, our ancestors, our parents, our grandparents, and my grandparents often left their homes with little time to spare, and as both communism and fascism crept their way through so many nations, many of our ancestors were forced to choose between their heritage and a new oppressive reality. Millions of our ancestors fled their homelands and left their community histories behind. But we did not leave our heritage behind. We never leave who we are behind, even when we can't be public about who we are. Our synagogues, our monuments, our sacred sites, which exist as reminders of the great contributions that our people have made. And beyond that, the Commission has allowed us to memorialize some of the darkest days our community has faced as well. We all know too well that anti-Semitism is on the rise. I remember a decade ago now when I first introduced the resolution that created Jewish American Heritage Month, and its primary purpose was just following the celebration of 350 years of Jewish life in America. We recognized that you couldn't just have one year-long celebration and call it a day or a year, that we had to make sure that we were vigilant. Because when you are carrying on the concept and the torch of never again in your heart, you have to make sure that we remain constantly vigilant. And we know that anti-Semitism really, it might ebb and flow, it might rise and fall, but unfortunately it is reasonably ever present. And unfortunately we've seen terrifying signs of that fact throughout Europe that are eerily reminiscent of the days before the Shoah. In Florida, very, very recently, as in the last few weeks, we've seen synagogues vandalized and individuals have had their car tires slashed and suffered anti-Semitic slurs. The foundation of Jewish American Heritage Month was really to make sure not that we educated Jews about our contributions, but about educating non-Jews about the role that our community has played in the growth of this nation. And I want to acknowledge Dr. Gary Zola, who, through the American Jewish Archives, has really helped support the Jewish American Heritage Month Coalition for the last 10 years, and can't thank you enough for that. Similarly, the Commission's role is to preserve the positive role that Jews and others have played in the history and narrative of nations throughout our world. So, to conclude, I first want to thank everyone in this room including the past chairs, Rabbi Zvi and Rabbi Zvi Kestenbaum, whose tenacity helped establish this commission in the first place. Our community clings to our traditions because we must. If we don't celebrate our heritage and instill in our children, I do that by example, and brought one of my children with me, my daughter Rebecca, who is here with us today. In synagogue, also known as Rivka. But if we don't celebrate our contributions, if we don't carry the torch for our traditions, then no one will, and they will be forever extinguished. There aren't that many of us, not in this nation or in this world, and it is our absolute responsibility to make sure that Lador Vador means something, and that we can carry on those traditions, pass them on, and make sure that the light of the Jewish community goes on forever and ever.